Hey, what's going on? I'm the Deadbeat Eric. Welcome back to another video on the Deadbeat YouTube channel. Just going to bring you a quick overview, thoughts and opinions on Escape from Tarkov, where it is in April of 2021, and if you should potentially consider picking up this game. Maybe, you know, pretty big game right now, popping off on Twitch and all other media platforms and stuff like that right now, so there's obviously a lot of eyes on it, and this is going to be a quick overview. The gameplay, mechanics, controls, kind of like overall, and take from it what you will. I have a pretty amateur opinion. I've put about 250 hours into it, been streaming it lots, uploaded some gameplay on the YouTube channel, but we're just going to get into it, talk about the game, developers, and you can choose for yourself if you want to pick it up. So right here, this is the Escape from Tarkov website. This is where you'd actually buy the game. The game's been in development since 2012 by Battlestate Games. Take from that what you will. It is in open beta, and yeah, so if you wanted to pick the game up, you basically just go to pre-order here on the front screen, and it'll bring up a bunch of different options. So you got the standard edition, left behind edition, prepare for escape, and the Edge of Darkness edition. And these all vary in price. I think the standard edition is about $40-50 US all the way up, and they scale up. The Edge of Darkness is about $140 US, not a cheap game, especially for a game that's in open beta. Now, I'm not one that hops on the early access, you know, anything like that by any stretch, but I will say that I do not regret picking up this game and paying the full Edge of Darkness edition. My rationale, one that I've heard before, is if I can get 1 hour of solid gameplay that I enjoy for every dollar I spend on a game, then I can justify picking it up. So weigh how much you want to pay. The different versions of the game come with different things. The standard edition doesn't really come with much. Edge of Darkness edition comes with an increased stash size, so you can store more weapons, equipment, quest items, and crafting items in your stash when you're outside of a battle. You also get an increased secure container size, which basically all that means is when you die in a raid and Escape from Tarkov, you lose everything, minus what's in your secure container. Now, having Edge of Darkness right off the bat gives you a larger secure container, which means every time you die, you're going to lose slightly less, and it'll allow you to kind of take more equipment in to keep you alive, potentially, give you a bit more of an advantage over those other people. So, not paid to win. There's no other paid DLCs or anything in this game aside from the actual version of the game you pick up. The Edge of Darkness edition does provide you access to all of the subsequent DLCs that they intend on releasing. However, I don't have any information on any of those, and from 2012 to now, I don't think they've released any content that hasn't been available to everyone. So take from that what you will. I definitely picked up the version because of the promise of the DLCs potentially. When we'll see those, who knows. Anyways, we're going to bounce over to the actual game. We talked a bit about the price, the developers a little bit, and we're going to talk about the UI, the actual game itself, and all that. So I think I should just mention it quickly. To only purchase Escape from Tarkov from the official Battlestate Games website, you might be able to find discounted or cheaper versions of the game online on other third-party sources, but I've seen stuff on Reddit of people getting burned or losing money or not getting full copies of the game or other weird stuff. So to be completely safe, I recommend purchasing the game from the Battlestate Games website, and once you install it, the game's about 10 to 15 gigabytes. You'll get this launcher like in an MMO. And basically what it'll allow you to do is just go through game news, all this stuff like that, access to their forum, as well as change your servers with the ones you want to play on. You can set it to USA Auto. I usually just sort by ping and tick off, you know, the ones that are the best. You can just click apply there, and then once you're good to go, you just hit play. Once you get in, you'll be greeted with a screen here. It says, attention, this is the beta version of Escape from Tarkov, and it goes without saying that anything I talk about in this game, gameplay, mechanics-wise, it's all subject to change. So if anything that I talk about is wrong or has been updated or patched, just drop a comment, let me know, and I'll try to update my video the best I can to kind of keep everyone well informed on the status of the game. Another little thing that I should mention as well is that the game wipes on regular intervals whenever there's a large update to the game and a large patch, and basically all that means is everyone that's currently played the game that's progressed through it gets reduced to level 1, you lose all your gear, upgrades, and skill improvements. Okay, so along the bottom of the screen over here, just below me, left to right, you've got your main menu, hideout tab, character, dealers, flea market, presets, handbook, messenger, and little cogwheels for your game settings. I'm currently running this game on a GTX 1070 gigabyte graphics card with an Intel i7-6700K processor and 32 gigs of RAM, and I haven't had any graphical issues or any issues specifically relating to graphics. These are the settings that I currently run when I play. with my GPU, and also when I'm streaming, I don't change these settings at all. I do have VSync ticked off for when I'm streaming. These are just game settings, so field of view, other stuff like that, UI settings, language you want to play. This is also where you pick your name, and you can also change it, I think, up to once every 2 months or so. You can change your name. Graphical settings right here, so pretty decent settings wise. You can pretty much bring it up or down to wherever you want to have your game running on your specific machine. However, something to keep in mind is the object load quality and the distance at which you can load objects, the visibility. This is the distance at which objects will load. There's tons of different videos on graphical settings, how to maximize your game and make sure that you have the ideal advantage, or not advantage, but you are fully maximizing the capabilities of your machine so that you aren't at a disadvantage, as in like objects aren't popping in, players aren't popping in, and you can see the maximum amount. But there aren't many maps to my knowledge that have a line of sight beyond 1500 meters, so having it at 3000 is kind of overkill, but that's where I leave it. My PC runs fine. Post effects, these are basically just like filters you can drop on your game. I leave them off because they take a bit of the frame rate down. On the 1070 while streaming, I usually run about 60 to 70 FPS depending on the map I'm playing on and stuff like that, which isn't a problem for me. For some people that's way too low, but 60 FPS for me is fine. So keep in mind, if you do want to play it a bit higher, you're going to need a better graphics card or a different setup. Sound settings, pretty important. I leave all this music, hideout volume, all that stuff aside from the overall, and binaural sound turn on. Controls, haven't had any issues with rebinding any of the controls. Lots of them. I pretty much kept them all the same, minus I rebound, I think it was the accurate shot button to a mouse button, as well as the discard button, just for ease of looting when I'm in raid. But aside from that, I basically kept all my key bindings the exact same. So on the screen here, you'll see Escape from Tarkov, which is the one you'll click to actually play the game, character, trading, hideout, and exit to close the game. This hideout button doubles over as the one that's in the bottom left-hand corner as well. When you click on hideout, it'll basically bring you over to this. So this is just a little area outside of the game, which is almost kind of like reminiscent of like a mobile game type thing. You basically check in here on a daily basis. When it gets to a certain point, you can craft different items here. I have a Bitcoin farm up, so basically every time I load into the game, I can get a Bitcoin that I can sell, and it gives me a little bit of money to kind of boost my progression. Tons of different stuff in here. I'm not going to get into too much detail on what all of these different things do, because that's a video in itself explaining the hideout. But that's just basically what the hideout is. You collect items in raid, and to upgrade these things and get all of these things unlocked, you're going to need specific items to construct them. Note of is there is a shooting range where you can basically bring in guns and test them out here, see how they feel, and once you unlock the workbench, it'll allow you to create custom preset guns, and we'll get into the gun customization in a little bit as well. Along here as well, character, there's a button there and there, click that, go over here, these are just all of your stats on your character. Gear on the right here, this is my stash, and this is where all your stuff is stored. If you purchased the standard edition of the game, you'd probably have about just around half of the storage space. So when you purchase the Edge of Darkness edition, you are given the maximum stash size. So if you go over to the hideout here, there's an actual thing here, stash. This is something that you have to upgrade if you don't have Edge of Darkness, and the current stash size is 10 by 64 grid. If you don't have it EOD and you just get the normal version, this is going to start off at level 1. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just going to limit you on how much stuff you can store right off the bat in the game. Health, this is where you'd come if you had to heal your character up after a raid, if you survived and or you died and you didn't use the health services provided there. Skills, these are just basically things that you can upgrade to provide you specific advantages by playing the game mostly. A lot of these things you're just going to naturally level up depending on your play style, how you like to play the game, and what sort of guns you like to use. Different levels and all these different things will increase at different rates, and this also shows you how much XP you need to get to the next level. Maps, if you purchase maps from one of the traders, you can view them in this tab. don't really recommend using those. When I get more into some of the gameplay and how I like to play the game, I'm going to talk about maps and how I navigate the field, the game. Tasks, these are basically quests to do. You unlock these from the traders, so we'll pop right over there, go back to the main menu. So trading here, these are all the traders. All of these buy and sell different things for different amounts of money. If you click on one of them, you can go over to here. These are all sorts of different weapon parts, attachments, and guns and ammo that is specifically sold by Prapper, this one guy here. You can sell stuff to him by clicking on this tab, and then the tasks up here is where you would accept different quests to do in raid. Flea market is unlocked at level 10, and this allows you to pretty well purchase any item in the game. You can sort through different guns and purchase them, and all of these items that are for sale right now are being sold by other players in the game. It's got their name right here, the durability or the condition of the gun, the price, and then the purchase button if you want to buy it. You can also add offers if you want to sell something. So if I wanted to sell this, type in my price, and then I place offer. But before I would do that, I would filter by the item. So I find out what everyone else is selling it for, and usually just undercut the first couple options here so that I know the item's going to sell. Because if it doesn't sell, you do have to pay a fee that is a percentage of the value, the total value that you're selling it for. And if you put an item up and it doesn't sell, you don't get that fee money back. Auctions, this tab appears grayed out. That should be coming soon. Can't really tell you when. And yeah, another flea market tab right here. So we got the flea market tab on the top and then one down here. Presets, this is for weapon customization. Another quick way you can get to that as well is in your inventory. You pull up a gun, right click it, go to edit preset. Boom. Now you've got the weapon customization screen right here. And this is a pretty cool part of the game. I have never seen weapon customization done to this level in any game I've ever played. Where you can put whatever you want on, well, not whatever you want, but looking up on YouTube or any other platform, just wacky guns people have created with like 20 sights on top of an ACOG scope or flashlights coming off tons of stuff and huge extended mags and all that. It is incredible. I have a good friend of mine. He loves the weapon customization of Escape from Tarkov, and he would just do it all day. But he can't stand it because of the gameplay, and he just hates losing these guns that he like just handcrafts into these beautiful works of art and then goes out and dies and loses them. But that's just the game, right? So really cool weapon customization here, the preset weapons, and then once you have the weaponsmithing table or the workbench, you can save that as a preset weapon. And then when you purchase another one of these guns, let's say the P90, you can look it up, bring up your preset with all of your custom attachments and what you like, and then basically go to assemble. I already have all the parts for this, but let's say I didn't. I wanted to add this giant ass flashlight on the side of it. Go to assemble. Oh, you don't have this flashlight. Buy parts. And this is being sold by Mechanic, one of the traders, but you can also tick that off so you're not buying it from a trader. And basically pick it up from there. And then purchase it. Go back, and then you'd hit assemble, and it would slap the gun together for you. Yeah, so that's basically the weapon customization and all that, and some of the core stuff. And up next, we're going to get into the actual gameplay, loading into a raid. Okay, so when you're ready to kick off into a raid, you hit Escape from Tarkov. You got two options here. You got your Scav or your PMC. Scav is just kind of like a randomly thrown together character that you can play as. You load into the last half of a raid on whatever map you choose to play, and it gives you an opportunity to run around, kill other PMCs or other player Scavs or computer-controlled Scavs, and grab gear, guns off them, make it out of the raid, and then use those items on your PMC if you're kind of strapped for cash and you need to pick up some gear for your raids. Pick the PMC option. You'll load in with whatever you've loaded your character out with. You pick your map here, time of day. Next, you have the option here for offline mode. So I recommend if you're learning a map or loading into your first couple raids and you're by yourself, you're learning the maps, you don't really are too comfortable, you can turn on or off PvE and just kind of walk around, learn the spawns. However, when you're playing offline, none of the XP or stuff that you pick up, you're going to be able to take out with you. Untick that, hit next. This is the insurance screen, and basically what it allows you to do is insure your stuff. When something is insured, it glows in yellow here or gold, and you pay money, and all that this means is if you were to die in the raid, there's a chance that if no other PMCs or Scavs take your gear out with you, then it'll be brought back by whoever you insured your gear with. So you have the option for Prepper or Therapist. Therapist gets your stuff back to you a little bit quicker, but is a bit more expensive. Prepper is kind of just the go-to. I've never actually, I don't think, insured anything with Therapist because I couldn't really be bothered. So that's something to keep in mind. Hit next, load in here. If you've added anyone on your friends list from the Messenger tab, they'll pop up at the top here, but to be found by any of your friends or invited to a game, you have to hit start looking for group, and now you would pop up in this list here. You can right-click people to invite them to group. That would be for if you wanted to invite friends, and as a PMC, you can have up to 5 people in your squad. As a scav, you can have a maximum of 4. So what we've got going on in the background here is just some pretty standard Escape from Tarkov gameplay. It's me and one of my buddies just doing a duo, and we're running through customs right now, which is one of the maps that you can play on as and this is a PMC raid. I'm going to pull up some clips to kind of showcase some of the audio quality, because in my opinion, I've never played a game with better audio than Escape from Tarkov. It is absolutely unbelievable. You can hear people meting up, you can hear people opening their inventory, aiming down sights, you can hear them walking. What material are they walking on? They're walking on wood, glass, concrete, dirt, and depending on your map knowledge and your positioning, you can figure out how many players they are, potentially where they are in relation to you, all of these different things. So I highly recommend that if you are going to play Escape from Tarkov, to have a decent headset or some way to kind of just have good audio quality, because audio quality in this game is very key in my opinion. Another thing that you can do to kind of ease of playing the game, I mentioned before the tab for the maps that are available for sale by the traders. I don't recommend using these. There's tons of maps online. In our Discord, I've got a bunch of resources that I like to use in regards to maps and stuff like that, and I actually have them open on my second monitor off on my right hand side here. And that just allows me to basically know where my position is on the map at all times. If you don't have a second monitor, you could use a phone, you could print them out, have paper ones, and just tape them like above your computer screen, or like sticky tab on the side of your monitor. Whatever's convenient for you, whatever is applicable in your circumstance. That's how I usually roll. So I guess if I really had to break it down, the core gameplay of Tarkov pretty much boils down to gearing up, heading into a raid by yourself or with friends, and setting out on a specific goal. That goal depends on the player. I've met tons of people as I've played through the game that don't do questing, but they're level 30 or they're in the same position I am, and they never did a single quest because they just enjoy going out, looking for PvP, getting kills, and customizing guns, all that stuff. That's their game to them. As I mentioned before, the game wipes once a year. You lose all your stuff, so it doesn't really matter what level you make it to. If you get the max tier gear, if you max out your hideout, if you make it to level 50, I couldn't really say that matters at all, so long as you're having fun and enjoying the game. But yeah, basically just gearing up, heading into a raid, getting kills, completing tasks, looting. Looting's a big aspect of it. If you've ever played anything such as DayZ or any other similar survival games, gear and items just spawn at normally occurring places, which is a whole other element too. There are high tier loot items that consistently spawn in the same place. So knowing the maps and knowing where those high tier loot items spawn will allow you to navigate the map, knowing where you're likely to run into PMCs, because a big thing is knowing the map. And if you don't know where PMCs or scavs are going to be on the map at different points of the raid, then you're going to have a hard time, because knowing the probable locations of where people are is going to assist you in finding that PvP or avoiding that PvP, depending on what you want to do and what your objectives are. So once again, map knowledge and knowing the maps and where those items spawn is a huge component in how your gameplay style will be influenced and how you'll go about completing your objectives. So since this video is more of an overview and just kind of my thoughts and opinion, there's not going to be a ton of gameplay, but I do have one clip here that I want to show to showcase the sound quality in this game and how you can use sound to your advantage, because I think sound is a pretty big part of this game, and arguably one of my favorite parts about it, how it influences decisions you make. Just a little backstory on this clip here. I'm going to kind of skip forwards and backs through it, but two of the guys that I was playing with basically ran up to this office up here inside of this mall, in the Idea office, and they got downed by a player scav in there. So I kind of had an idea that he was somewhere in this office somewhere, not totally sure where, but I was kind of coming in to try to avenge them. But just listen, and I'm going to stop and kind of show you where you should kind of listen and kind of hear these different things. So right away, right there, I took a couple shots from the front of that, inside of that store there, or inside of that back room. I can hear him walking around. And I can hear him walk right up to the wall, right beside me after I threw that nade. You can hear him sidestepping around. I'm just kind of hanging out. Didn't really play this out the best. You can hear him check his mag. He's inspecting the gun. He's fumbling around. Oh, he's standing still. Oh, running. You can hear the door hinges close as he closed that one door right there. Skip ahead a little bit. He's got his flashlight on. He's coming out. He's kind of strafing around in front of the doors to try to get an angle, see where I am. Didn't really play this out the best, but I mean, you'll see how it ended up. Chilling out here. Opens one of the doors. He retreats back into the room. I can hear him reloading. So took a bit of damage there. Wasn't really the best. I should have followed him in right after I got him to retreat back in that room, because if you play that back and listen, you can actually hear him reload, and that's a perfect time to push and take him and get that kill. So probably could have pushed him a little bit sooner, but that's just a quick kind of demo of the sound in this game and the extreme quality of it and how you can use it to your advantage, which I think is just out of this world. So just going to wrap things up right here. I'm not going to drop an official, like, if I approve or a review for this game, because the game is in beta, and I think it's at everyone's discretion depending on what sort of games you're into. If you're at all interested in tactical FPS games such as Squad or Arma, I think this game would be right up your alley. You'd probably enjoy it, especially with the gun customization and the hardcore mechanics. But yeah, all in all, I've had a really great time with the game. 250 hours. There's tons of people out there that have thousands of hours that I implore you to go hear their opinions and stuff like that, because mine's pretty amateur for how far I've gotten into the game and whatnot. But I've had a really good time. If you ever want to play with me or anything else like that, feel free to check out the Twitch stream, TheDeadbeat3RIC, and we can maybe get you to hop on and we can get in a few raids. Also, don't forget to check out Deadbeat Brando and the Deadbeat Jesus as well, two of my buddies that are also streaming, and Deadbeat Jesus also does stream some Tarkov as well, so he's worth checking out. But if there's anything in this game that was updated, patched, or changed since it's been made, just drop it in the comments, let me know, and I'll be sure to update things as best I can. But all in all, I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think, and have a good one. Peace.